discovery of the New World, spread of disease and ideas, the conscription of natives and Africans into forced labor, all part of a new exchange system created in the 15th century. This time, on the West Coast tradition, the Columbian Exchange. The Columbian Exchange, a phrase coined by Alfred W. Crosby in 1972, refers to a period of cultural and biological exchanges between the New and Old World. It came into existence for countless reasons. One such was the conquering of Constantinople in 1453 by the Ottoman Turks. This resulted in European desire for a new way to trade with Asia, without the Muslim middlemen. Portugal, encouraged by Prince Henry the Navigator, was one of the first European powers to promote the development of naval technology, such as caravels, to aid in sea travel and finding new routes to Asia. Other countries, such as Spain, became inspired to find a westward path to Asia, as the Portuguese dominated eastward routes. Columbus, sponsored by Spanish King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, stumbled upon the Americas while looking for a shorter route to Asia. Eventually, the conquistadores followed. Pizarro conquered the Incas and Cortés the Aztecs. Thus, exploration and exploitation was brought to the new lands. Europeans who hoped to exploit the land, become rich, convert natives to Christianity, or achieve fame and glory, began journeying to the Americas. The sharp increase in migrations to the Americas spurred the development of a major trade system between the Old and New World. A massive amount of goods, ideas, and people circulated between the two hemispheres. Thus, the Columbian Exchange was born. There were many immediate and long-term effects of the Columbian Exchange. In 1519, transmission of European disease to the Americas led to a drastic decline within the native population. A smallpox epidemic wiped out 95% of the Aztec Empire within only a century. This vast population decline allowed for Spanish rulers to take over and impose their rule on Latin America. Europeans were encouraged to immigrate into these depopulated lands, and the slave trade was increased to replace native labor. Economically, gold and silver taken from the Aztec and Incan empires caused terrible inflation in Europe. The silver mined in Spanish lands allowed Philip II of Spain to become the most powerful ruler of Europe, sparking rivalries between European powers. New trade routes were also created during the Columbian Exchange, such as the Manila Galleon trade and the Triangular Trade Network. The triangular trade included a massive movement of slaves across the Atlantic in the infamous Middle Passage. The slave trade became an extremely important part of the Columbian Exchange and had many long-term effects on the Americas. In the New World, African slaves played a crucial role in economic development. They replaced the loss of native populations and facilitated the establishment of plantation agriculture. Deep social divides between rich whites and poor blacks were first significantly established and persist to modern day. In terms of agriculture, the transfer of crops had important effects on local cuisine around the world. Coffee, soybeans, oranges, and bananas were all introduced to the Americas. Sugar, rice, and cotton led to the development of plantation economies, introducing slavery and indentured servitude to the New World. These new crops also supported the new waves of European settlers in the Americas. In the Eastern Hemisphere, people gradually developed a taste for American crops such as peanuts, cassava, cacao, and the sweet potato. By the 1700s, maize and potatoes increased calories in Eurasian diets and created larger yields, supporting greater populations. The resulting population boom encouraged the Industrial Revolution and later European imperialism. It also contributed to shortages in food, clothes, and housing. resulting in inflation and promoting immigration to the New World. Along with crops, new animals were introduced across the globe. From the east, domestic animals such as cattle and horses were brought to the west. Because they helped the tribes hunt more effectively, North American natives eagerly borrowed horses from the Europeans. In addition, new ranching economies emerged. In contrast, the transfer of animals such as turkeys from the New to the Old World had minimal significance in the Old World. Technology was generally diffused in one direction, from east to west. New farming equipment, such as the plow, significantly increased agricultural output, providing food surpluses and the means to cultivate larger lands. Guns were also introduced and became an important part of Native American culture. With guns, natives were able to hunt more efficiently and soon became dependent on Europeans to provide firearms. As the Columbian Exchange developed, ideas were both created and destroyed. Many European powers, like England and Holland, began to incorporate ideas of liberty into business organizations, later called joint stock companies. These companies, like the British East India Company, led to the creation of global corporate structures. However, while this idea was being developed, the Native American belief of being one with nature was destroyed due to European settlement. This had disastrous ecological consequences as the Europeans disregarded the ideas of preservation of the environment. Religion also spread from the east to the west as a result of the Columbian Exchange. Portugal and Spain were the most concerned with conversion of natives and brought missionaries to the New World. Spain created many famous missions along the western coast of North America, forcing natives to convert to Christianity. Syncretic faiths evolved from Christianity combined with native and African religion, such as the devotion to the Lady of Guadalupe and Voodoo. The Columbian Exchange was an extremely important system of trade that linked the Old and New World for the first time ever. This exchange of goods, people, ideas, and disease was initially caused by the need to find new trade routes to Asia. However, the Columbian Exchange developed into a major system of exchange with many unintended long-term consequences. The spread of goods and ideas during this time period is still apparent, hundreds of years later in the modern day. The gap between the East and West has become exponentially small, as technologic innovation has encouraged interconnection between the two distant landmasses. The descendants of those who ventured or were forced to the Americas for exploration, exploitation, or to provide labor constitute the majority of the modern American population. Furthermore, the established social hierarchies and injustices that came with them still remain a significant problem in many Western countries. Even to this day, the prevalent effects of the decimation of the native population due to the spread of European diseases can be shown through the minority which is known as the Native American population. Without the Columbian Exchange, the world as we know it would not exist today.